Welcome to the next installment of Arabella Advisors, the third pillar of election integrity. Part 5. Go to mgshow.link/Arabella to follow along and for more information.
The 1630 Fund, which is managed by Arabella Advisors, which is the largest Democrat dark money network in the country and considered public enemy number one.
We work hard to bring you the best content possible. If it is a theory, we label it as such. If it is a fact, it's a fact whether we like it or not. If you see anything that looks incomplete or have found something new, please contact us by going to mg.show/contact. Let's dig in some more as we bring you the fifth installment of what we call Arabella Advisors, the third pillar of election integrity. Some big names have specifically called out the dark money network run by for-profit Arabella Advisors and their nonprofit funds, which in turn are funneled through over 350-plus pop-up foundations. Jeffrey Peterson and Shannon Townsend from the MG Show have been shining a light on Arabella Advisors since August of 2021. During the SCOTUS nomination committee hearing, Lindsey Graham exposed Arabella's dark money network.
What is it about your nomination that the most liberal people under the umbrella of Arabella threw in their money, their time, their support, and threatened Joe Biden if he picked Judge Childs? I want to know more about that.
Jim Jordan was on Fox News and was asked about the SCOTUS pick and drops in Arabella Advisors' bomb.
Arabella Advisory Group, this left-wing group, was the one behind pushing her. It's also interesting that group, their key lawyer who they pay all kinds of money to is Mark Elias, the same Mark Elias who was in the Durham filing, who was helping this whole process of framing President Trump. So I hope so. Yeah. So she's pretty radical.
General Flynn exposed Arabella Advisors at CCDF USA in Florida, said the enemy is Arabella Advisors, and then referred to the slide.
Most people have never heard of this. These are the 5 children of George Soros. Okay? That's who they are. That's who they represent.
Dinesh D'Souza was on the MG Show, and Jeffrey Peterson asked Dinesh about the third pillar of election integrity. And Dinesh went on to explain that these NGOs and left-wing nonprofits served as vote stash houses and more.
The way you did it, just alone, just the ballot harvesting alone, the mules that you expose is enough to sway the election. Dinesh, is that true?
It is true, and you're also missing the other element, which is these left-wing NGOs and nonprofits, which serve as vote stash houses. That's where the mules get the ballots. The mules don't come up with their own ballots. They make a stop at one of these left-wing activist centers. They get the ballots, and then they go on their mailman-style routes from one drop box to another, 3 ballots over here, 5 ballots over there. I was talking to someone, just a day or so ago, and they're like, well, why don't they put all the ballots in one box? Well, that's because if you put 100 ballots in one place, it'll create a spike, which will be really obvious when they open the mailbox the next morning and fill out the custody documents. They'll see this unnatural spike of votes. So that's the reason that the votes are kind of spread around. It's to prevent people from raising concerns or eyebrows.
President Donald J. Trump at the Nebraska rally on May 1st, 2022, and said no private money pouring into local elections. This is a huge confirmation of the Foundation decode.
Between borders and elections, we're not going to have a country any longer. We're poisoning our country. And that means universal voter ID, citizenship confirmation, no more fake drop boxes, and no private money pouring into local elections.
In this series, we have only begun to list all who have foundations. These F, foreign, and D domestic billionaires use their foundations to change American election laws. Americans for Public Trust has filed a lawsuit demanding that the Federal Election Commission take action on their complaint against Swiss billionaire Hans-Jörg Weiss for funneling money into the liberal dark money network led by Eric Kessler's Arabella Advisors. The lawsuit alleges that Weiss used 2 nonprofit organizations, the Weiss Foundation and the Burger Action Fund, to contribute millions of dollars to the 1630 Fund and the New Venture Fund, 2 so-called dark money groups that fund liberal causes through operations like the Hub Project and Demand Justice. This statement of facts in the Americans. For Public Trust's complaint to the Federal Election Committee, more than implies that Hans-Jörg Weiss is not a citizen of the United States of America. In essence, foreign assets deployed and ultimately change our election laws. Hans-Jörg Weiss is a Swiss billionaire who donates to a variety of causes and organizations through an established foundation, the Wyss Foundation, a 501c3 organization, and the Burger Action Fund, a 501c4 organization, which shares facilities and staff with the Weiss Foundation. At the center of the effort is an opaquely named Democratic organization, the Hub Project, which is on track to spend nearly $30 million since 2017, pressuring members of Congress in their districts. The great bulk of its funding has come from so-called dark money funds from donors who are not legally required to reveal their names. The Hub Project is not a standalone entity, but a registered trademark of the New Venture Fund, a 501c3 organization. Since 2007, the Weiss Foundation has given approximately $556.5 million to New Venture Fund. The 1630 Fund is a 501c4 organization, and both are part of the Arabella Advisors managed nonprofits. Additionally, Mr. Gurney confirmed that the Hub Project controls the money flowing from the 1630 Fund into the state-level groups, but the larger nonprofit does not have to disclose its funding sources. The Burger Action Fund gave over $135 million to the 1630 Fund between 2016 and 2020. The 1630 Fund is considered to be among the leading dark money spenders on the left, including a vast array of organizations engaged in electoral advocacy as their primary purpose. Contributions from the 1630 Fund were used to fund political activities of the state affiliates under the Hub Project. In the FEC complaint, it has been alleged that Hans-Jörg Weiss's Hub Project is a registered trademark of the New Venture Fund. This now ties foreign dark money to Arabella Advisors. Foreign nationals are prohibited from making contributions or expenditures directly or indirectly. Commissioner Weintraub made it abundantly clear in her draft interpretive rule that indeed, the Commission has recognized the broad scope of the foreign national contribution prohibition and found that even where the value of a good or service may be nominal or difficult to ascertain, such contributions are nevertheless banned. It is known in both the Republican and Democrat Party that foreign nationals are prohibited from making contributions or expenditures directly or indirectly, and the complaint clearly points this out. Further, foreign nationals are prohibited from providing any substantial assistance in making any expenditure or independent expenditure or participating in any decision-making regarding election-related activities. However, Mr. Weiss and his foundations created a sophisticated political operation to advance progressive policy initiatives and the Democrats who support them in setting up the Hub Project as a conduit to influence the 2018 congressional races. The elaborate structure of Mr. Weiss's contributions demonstrates a scheme to conceal the true source of these funds and then evade the prohibitions on foreign nationals. In addition, as a foreign national, Mr. Weiss is strictly prohibited from making direct contributions to political committees. Yet from 1990 to 2003, Mr. Weiss made direct contributions to federal candidates totaling nearly $70,000. It appears that Mr. Weiss doesn't seem to be stopping his sizable contributions to the KG funds led by Arabella Advisors. However, the most glaring crack in the armor of this elaborate scheme to utilize a foreign national's funds to indirectly make contributions and expenditures is the admission by Hub Project Executive Director Arkady Gurney that the Hub Project controls a super PAC of its own, Change Now, to run advertisements against Republicans. Here is how Mr. Weiss tried to hide his influence and affiliation to his foreign dark money network. Federal law is clear that contributions made in the name of another are strictly prohibited. The Hub Project has served as a vehicle for the political spending of Mr. Weiss. This is demonstrated by the fact that Mr. Weiss has not publicly disclosed his role in founding the Hub Project. Neither his influence nor his financial support can be found anywhere on the group's website. Rather, information regarding his involvement with the Hub Project was the result of interviews with 5 people with knowledge of the Hub Project, an internal memo from another liberal group that was obtained by the New York Times. Mr. Weiss did not establish the Hub Project through one of his 2 foundations. Rather, he structured the project to be overseen by another entity, the New Venture Fund, which received $56.5 million from the Weiss Foundation, with additional funds of $135 million made available through the Burger Action Fund to the 1630 Fund. This financial arrangement enabled Mr. Weiss to avoid any connection with the sizable election activities carried out by the Hub Project and Change Now. Merely because the scheme developed by Mr. Weiss has made his contributions difficult to ascertain does not mean that they should be free from being treated as though they were made directly. We now know that Hans-Jörg Weiss is the mastermind behind this foreign dark money Goliath. Let's tie it all together and gain some insight. Dozens of public and private foundations are donating to the for-profit Arabella Advisors main funds. The 501c3 and 501c4 serve as tax shelters to help conceal elite and foreign donors and their dark money. Two of the funds, New Venture and 1630, use one of their 350-plus pop-up organizations disguised as grassroots organizations, hidden in plain sight. These pop-ups can be stood up at the speed it takes to publish a website. They tend to be run as short-term, high-intensity media campaigns targeting the news cycle. As soon as a pop-up loses its usefulness, it is put back on the shelf. This circular economy of sorts is used to finance, influence, lobby, and control our elections. There are laws that prohibit a foreign national from donating in U.S. elections. Yet here the green card billionaire is influencing our elections. It's not just Hans-Jörg Weiss. Arabella Advisors are evasive too. What is that old saying? If you have nothing to hide, then you have no reason to worry. Americans for Public Trust APT watchdog group made an in-person request for nonprofit tax documents Arabella Advisors is legally required to provide. Arabella Advisors staffers who were present at one of their Washington, D.C. offices refused to provide the watchdog group with copies of the Form 990s and called security to remove the APT representative from the building within 5 minutes of the watchdog group representative's arrival. Just a few weeks prior, Arabella Advisors' CEO stated they were compliant with all laws. The law required them to hand over these dark money tax returns, and they failed to comply. One might conclude Arabella Advisors are delaying the release of documents that could show how hundreds of millions of dollars were spent to influence public policy and U.S. elections. As we reported on May 14, 2021, a watchdog group filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission, FEC, seeking an immediate investigation and enforcement action against Hans-Jörg Weiss Foundation, New Venture Fund, including its trademark Hub Project, 1630 Fund, and Burger Action Fund, formerly Weiss Action Fund, for violations of the Federal Election Campaign Act, FECA. As a political committee, the Hub Project would be subject to reporting requirements under FECA. The Hub Project is a beneficiary of over $190 million from its financial backer, Mr. Hans-Jörg Weiss, who contributed through the Weiss Foundation and the Burger Action Fund to Arabella Advisors' network of nonprofits. Despite these significant, sizable contributions, the complaint alleges the Hub Project has failed to properly file the source of the contributions. Therefore, the Commission should find a reason to believe that Mr. Hans-Jörg Weiss, the Weiss Foundation, the Burger Action Fund, New Venture Fund, 1630 Fund, and the Hub Project have violated fundamental compliance and transparency rules with prohibited contributions by a foreign national. We are still waiting on an action report for the complaint in question. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We are only just scratching the surface. We need everyone's help. We, the people, are the majority. When are we going to have that light bulb moment? We must speak out and be heard to get the foreign assets deployed in our elections removed. The foreign dark money plagues our elections. When are we going to take back our country from a system run by a small group of foreign and domestic billionaires who want us to remain in this suspended elite dark fantasy? The choice is yours to make. Will you stand idly by and watch our republic run into the ground? Or will you take a stand and declare your rightful role as an American? Know this, we are with you. We the people are with you. Thank you for joining us on this journey to uncover the truth. Together, we've delved into the shadows where dark money lurks, threatening the very foundation of our republic. But our mission doesn't end here. As stewards of our republic, it's up to each and every one of us to shine a light on the forces that seek to manipulate and undermine it. We urge you to join in our efforts to uncover more information, to stand up against the influence of dark money in our elections and to spread awareness far and wide. Your voice matters. Your actions matter. Together, we can reclaim the integrity of our electoral process and ensure that the will of the people prevails. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your commitment to saving America. Let's keep the heartbeat of our constitutional republic strong. Join us in this vital mission.